When working with data, there's nothing more satisfying than being able to create a graph or add data or remove data with just one click. Hi, I'm Pamela Schultz, and in this video, I'm going to show you some techniques that take just one click. In particular, we're going to be using the bars command, creating a side-by-side bar graph, and I will highlight a new feature in DataGraph 5.5 that makes some of these things even easier. And I'm also going to show you some functionality that the command has, the bars command, that I didn't know for a long time was even in DataGraph, and I think it's a really useful feature to be aware of. So that's what we're doing in this video, and we'll be using DataGraph 5.5. DataGraph is a professional program for graphing and data analysis, and if you want more details, you can get it in the description of this video. First thing I want to do is show you how to create a side-by-side bar graph very quickly, where in this instance, we have a single column that has a category, and then we have multiple columns of numeric data where we want to compare for each category those values of numeric data. The first thing I'm going to do is select the data set. And once my data is selected, then I can just go ahead and click the bars command icon in the toolbar, one click, and I have created my bar graph. I'm also going to add a legend for good measure. Something that has happened to me before, and I imagine it's probably happened to you, is making a graph like this and then realizing that there was one more column of data I should have included. In this case, if I hide the data side panel, I can see the rest of the data and see that column that I missed. In order to add this into my graph, there's a way that takes 3 clicks that I'll show you first. If you go into the command itself, you will see a list of all the columns, all the data that is in this bars command. And to the right-hand side of the last one in the list, there's a plus symbol that I can click to add another line. That's one click. Then I can click the menu selector, 2 clicks, and from that menu selector, I can click the column I want to add. There's my 3 clicks. What we have added in DataGraph 5.5 is a one-click way to do this. If I go ahead and undo that, so let's now hit the minus key to remove that data that I added, I can actually just go into the title bar, click and drag and drop right onto my command. Let me do this again. So I'll subtract to remove that data. And then if I just in one click and drag, I can bring this onto my bars command, and now I've added that data in one click. It's maybe a small improvement, but things like this, I think, are what make DataGraph so satisfying to work with. There's also a way to add multiple elements in one drag and drop, and that is from the data side panel. Here's the same side-by-side bar graph, but now I've removed a couple of more elements, and I want you to see that I can take the elements from the data side panel, select multiple of them, click and drag and drop, and again, that adds it into my bars command. It's a handy thing to know that you can do. The last thing that I wanted to show you, this feature that I was not aware of for some time, as I was first learning to use DataGraph, is that when you have a user interface element like this, where within the bars command you see these multiple row entries, these are entries that I can click and drag to move around. So this is a very handy thing, because if I want to rearrange the data that's being shown in my graph, I don't have to change the way my data is oriented. I can just change it within the command itself. And I think this is a very handy thing to do. And another one of these things that we try to embody in DataGraph itself, that you don't have to manipulate your data like crazy to get the graph that you want to look a certain way. And again, maybe this is a small example of that, but it's a really useful feature to know. And in fact, this type of user interface element is used in multiple other commands, as well as variables within DataGraph, where you'll have a list of items, and those lists can be rearranged by clicking and dragging to rearrange the items in the list. Don't forget, click the like symbol, subscribe to our channel if you have not already. This was the third video in our series of What's New in DataGraph 5.5. If you want to see other videos in this series, then there should be a link somewhere on the screen right now that you can click in order to view those videos Thanks for watching.